Hello, beautiful, and welcome to Self Love Friday with me, Diana Grant. Thank you for being here. The good news is that I got to the bottom of the problem that we were experiencing with my stream in the last 2 weeks, and that was related to the camera that I was using. So I have a wonderful new webcam on the way. Unfortunately, it didn't arrive in time for today, but in the meantime, I am using a different machine, which has a better camera. It is the old laptop that I used to use, and although it has a better camera, it's looking a little bit grainy on my side. I hope it's not too bad on your side. And welcome and thank you for being here anyway. So, on that positive note, we have great things to look forward to from next week. This week, however, I want to speak about mindful eating. I was chatting recently about mindfulness in general and various ways that you can improve your life by using mindfulness. And the first one that I want to share with you is mindful eating, or as I like to say, feel your meal. So, how do you feel your meal and where did this all come from? For me, it started many years ago. I went on a retreat at a Buddhist temple in South Africa. Hello, dear Olga. Welcome, welcome, and thank you for being here. As I was saying, on years and years ago, on my very first meditation retreat, actually, with the Buddhist monks in their temple in a place called Bronkhorstspruit in South Africa, outside of Johannesburg. Off I went to spend the weekend learning different meditation, types of meditation, and tricks and tips and how to make it part of your life. And one of the things that struck me the most was my experience in the dining hall. It was really, everything about the temple was simple. It was like these people were living this quiet, peaceful, focused life, doing great amounts of good. And they were just in such a pace, such a rhythm, and their life seemed so simple and yet so rich at the same time. And one of the places where I really, really experienced this was at the meal times in their dining hall, as I said. And it was really very simple. And they had four main sort of rules around eating in the dining hall. First of all, let me not forget to mention that their dining hall was open to the public. So anyone who needed a meal could just come into the property and say that they were coming for a meal and go into the dining room. And as long as they observed the rules around dining in that dining hall, then they were welcome and welcome to eat their full. The first rule was that the dining was done in silence. So it started not silent. It started with a beautiful opening prayer, which was like done in a chanting way, and it was really amazing. If you've ever heard Buddhist chants, you'll know how beautiful it is. And my friend Jamie, and Olga's friend Jamie, in the United States, is a practicing Buddhist, and she chants, I think, every day. It is such a beautiful, beautiful sound and experience, and it really is peaceful. So we would start with a prayer, and the prayer was, they would explain, because it was done in, I think it was Mandarin, they would explain it first in English so that we knew what the meaning was of the prayer. And it was really just gratitude. Gratitude for the day, gratitude for the food, gratitude for the chance to sit in silence and receive the food. So this prayer of gratitude would go out, and then everyone would fall into silence. So those were kind of two rules in one that I just wrapped up into the one. The first one being gratitude, very, very important. The second one being that meals were taken in silence. And the reason that they explained this was that you would be fully engaged and mindful in the process of eating. So you wouldn't be doing something else, talking about something else, thinking about something else. You would really connect with what you were doing in that moment. So that was interesting. The second rule was that there was no waste at all. So they never wasted anything out of their food supply. And so the bowls were really little. They were about they would fit the size of your fist inside this little bowl. So these little round bowls and eating utensils, you could use chopsticks if you were comfortable with them, but they provided forks and spoons and knives as well for Western people. What we were comfortable with and used to. And the rule was dish up exactly what you would commit to eat. So what you would commit to eat, dish into your bowl. And of course, being a Tibet, well, these were Buddhists practicing the Tibetan tradition. There were different foods that I had never laid eyes on before, and a lot of people on the retreat had never laid eyes on before, and they were cognizant of this, and they mentioned the fact that they were aware of this. So try something that looked semi-familiar or that you thought looked yummy and that you could commit to eating, because there was food enough for everyone. This leads me into the last sort of rule or guideline, that there's food enough for everyone and that you could eat as much as you liked. So you could go back to that buffet as many times as you liked during the meal hour, as long as you ate everything that you dished up. So it was really fun because, first of all, there was tasting all these different things. So foods that I hadn't eaten before. And I will tell you, every single one of them was delicious. I do love food though, so I could be biased. There might be things that other people wouldn't like, but I liked every single dish. And I loved the fact that although I was dishing up this tiny little portion, I knew that I could manage that because that was small and that I could go back for more. And they made this very clear, and they did it at every mealtime, which was interesting. So they would kind of lay out the rules up front. Then we would do this beautiful prayer of gratitude, and then we would eat in silence. Leaving the retreat, I learned so much that weekend, which I'm sure to share with you over time. But leaving the retreat, the mindful engagement with meal times really stayed with me. And I started practicing this in my own life. And at some point came up with the term feel your meal, because of my passion for body work, because I believe that all our growth first starts in our physical form. We learn about ourselves as physical beings first and foremost. That's why I love body work, and that's why I believe in the power of body work. And so I brought that into my practice and into the things that I share with my friends and clients as a tool called Feel Your Meal. The way that the how-to that I like to share is quite simple. As with most things that I like to share, I like to keep it simple. So the first way that I do feel my meal is I just have this moment of silence, because there isn't always an opportunity to go into full gratitude, to do a full prayer or meditation, or however you express gratitude. So I literally take a moment and I sit and I look at the food. I literally look at the food in front of me that I've already dished up onto my plate. And I have this moment of, wow, thank you. That's amazing. Gratitude for the food. Then as I continue, I feel that gratitude further in feeling it for my body. So the gratitude goes from the food and to my body. I'm so grateful that I can actually eat this food and receive this food into my body. Then as I eat, I practice full awareness with the food. So it's kind of like the gratitude continues, and then it turns into a really sensual experience where I really throw myself into tasting it, experiencing the texture, the smell of it, and I try and focus on each and every bite. While I'm doing this, I imagine the ingredients and I imagine what they're doing in my body. So I imagine how my body is receiving. I'll tell you the brunch that I just had, thanks to my hubby. We just had the most delicious sausages with freshly baked ciabatta bread. Oh, it was so yummy. And they were, I'm trying to think what sausages they were. They had some delicious flavor. England and its sausages. There are so many sausages, and I love sausages. So we had these delicious sausages. And as I was eating them, I was thinking of the protein in the sausage. I was thinking, that's what there was. There was onion in the sausage as well. The onion being sort of a sugary fruit, but adding flavor, the delicious flavor of that. I was thinking about the carbohydrates giving me energy of the bread, the carbohydrates going into my body and giving me this last instant boost of energy. I'm thinking of the butter on my bread and how delicious that is, and that to a degree, some of that fat can be used by my body. And even when there are questions like, media sends us so much info about what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat. And I'm a great believer in pleasure. So when I'm in these moments and these moments drop in like, oh, butter, I then connect with the pleasure of it, because there's great power in that. We are made to enjoy. We are made for pleasure. And pleasure can override all sorts of negative beliefs. So in that moment today, when I was eating my brunch, I really just dived into the pleasure of it and appreciating what the carbohydrates were doing for me, what the protein was doing for me, what that little brunch, it wasn't a big meal, it's just a nice little brunch, was doing for me, and what it was doing for me on a physical level in my body, as well as how it was making me feel. I felt cared for because it had been made for me. I felt happy because it tasted so delicious and I was getting a meal in before I came on here. So just really, really connecting with it and feeling it all. There obviously isn't, in our Western culture, there isn't always space to eat in silence. It isn't really part of our culture. But what I do is every once in a while, when I get an opportunity, I take a meal in silence. I do get those opportunities fairly regularly because I live on my own. When my hubby's away working and his boys are not always with me, they're with their mum most of the time. And so I do get these opportunities to sit on my own and take a meal in silence, and it's really great. And when I say silence, I do complete silence. So no telly, no music playing, just me and my meal. What is interesting is that in the environment when I went for the retreat, it was really doable because there was group energy and the whole group was silence. Um, However, what that did was it gave an opportunity for the mind to still be busy because, I would find myself sitting there looking around. I'd eaten in silence. I'd enjoyed my meal. And then I would sort of look around, watch other people, think, do I want some more or not? So that my mind would still be busy. What I try and do these days when I do a silent meal is take it as an eating meditation. So really quietening my mind other than focusing on what I'm doing, really connecting with the meal. And that can be supremely powerful. It is amazing to see how much quicker my belly fills up, how I realize that I don't necessarily need as much salt as I think I need, or as much of a condiment, or, it really connects you with the food and with your body and listening to your body and hearing from your body. And that's where the power is at. With body work, the more we listen to our body, the more we tap in, the more we know where we're at on a physical level, the more we're able to expand and evolve our inner self because we understand our body. We're not fighting the body. We're not feeling unwell, uncomfortable. We're not making ourselves sick. We're not making ourselves sluggish because we're in touch with what's happening on a physical level. It does give us greater power on the mental and emotional inner self level in order to be able to attain greater things and grow to greater heights. So on that note, I encourage you to give it a try. Try Feel Your Meal this week, and do let me know what you think if you give it a go. Let me know your experience of body work and getting in touch with your body. I have some more body work tips that I'm going to share with you in the upcoming weeks, because I really, as I said earlier, I really believe that is the root of all who we are. That's where we start off. And by making peace with our physical and working with our physical, we empower ourselves to take steps into greater areas and empower ourselves and grow bigger and stronger and bolder on the inner self level. So thank you very much for joining me today. I think that's all I have to share with you about feeling your meal. Turn it into a meditation and enjoy every morsel. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your weekend. Lots of love, and I'll see you here next week. Same time, same place. Mwah.